I could spend literally 10 minutes talking about this card. Hey guys, it's Caban from True Champion Gaming, and today we have an exciting deck profile for you. We finally hit onto Silvie, so we're going to be covering a Wind No Terra Silvie list. So we don't run the level 3. The reason to do that was basically just for consistency reasons, and honestly, I played the deck a good couple of times, and it actually felt really good. So we do have some gameplay up on our Patreon and possibly on the YouTube, because we are doing Game 1 on YouTube. If you want to see Game 2, go check out the Patreon. They were both really fantastic games, honestly. It was against Terry's Water Merlin. So let's go ahead and just jump into the profile, though. So I know a lot of Silvie fans are excited for this. So we have the Spirit of Wind, of course, Silvie level 1. This is, interesting. Well, I guess I'll talk about some other stuff later instead of going on to it now. But you play this, buff an animal, helps keep your board alive. And then we run 2 different level 2s. So we have Silvie with the pack and Alan Beastbeckner. Alan is meant to be in here for more like specific situations where you get like 2 Temper Silverback in a row or something. Like you play one turn 1, play one turn 2 or something like that. But honestly, I ended up going into him most games. So it is a little versatile. You run away to D level, so you can go into you can go into both in one game, basically, just depending on what the situation is. I will say, if you have an animal and a beast on board, you're almost always going to want to go into Silvie with the pack. We only run 4 Harmony/Melody cards in the deck, so you're not going to get the draw off of Alan pretty much at all. You're basically just going in for the levels. Then we have, Silvie's best new card, Effigy of Gaia. I could spend literally 10 minutes talking about this card, but it's good. It's basically the second copy of Beastbond Ears, but with an amazing secondary effect. So you're running both because they are free, which is really important for Silvie, and this means that you can, with Flute of Taming, get up to level 5 on your level 2 Silvie with the pack, and get the highest pride that we run is 5 in the deck. So this is your way to guarantee that you get to pride 5. And yeah, I mean, it's just absolutely insane. We have Crystal of Empowerment. This might be if you just really need to go up levels fast, right? Obviously that's what the card does. I didn't really bring it out too many times, but it is there if you need it, because there could be a specific situation where you just need to go for that. We have a Beastbond Boots. This is pretty much just for Rye matchups and stuff. I'm not really sure how relevant this really is, but it's in here because it is a very good card. We have Terrafring. This is basically the anti-aggro card, so if they're going to just spam the board and try to clear off your board of your buffed beast and stuff, this is going to be a really good option to bring in against them. And then we have GCR because every deck needs to run a Divine Relic. They're that good. And this just gets you the card draw that you desperately need in Silvie. And then the last card is kind of a weird pick. I'm not 100% certain on how I feel about this. Ventus is most efficient when you bring it out really early. And in Silvie, especially Wind Silvie, and I think all Silvie lists, honestly, there's a lot of stuff you want to materialize fast. You want to get into your level 1 because a lot of your stuff relies on a class bonus. And you also want to be going into extra levels, because you need that to attack with stuff, and you also want to go into your Grand Crusader ring because Silvie runs out of cards fast. So it's really hard to fight for early space with Ventus, but this can help in a control matchup, especially against things like Incarnate Majesty. If you haven't buffed up a guy big enough to deal with that, you can just bring this out and over time play 3 Wind Element Mage spells, and then just put on 3. You're using this for suppress it, not really the enlightenment counters. Tap it, get rid of a taunt or whatever, interceptor for the turn, and then swing face. So, it did work. It is a good card. I'm just not sure it deserves to be in this deck. So, yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the main deck. We have 4 Fractal Insights. A lot of people are trying out the influence cards right now, so this helps you go down on influence, which is really nice. And the Glimpse is really good for your Blissful Callings and stuff. You don't have a gigantic animal count, and if you watched our games on Patreon, you would know that the Blissful Calling was a little hit or miss, and even when I hit, it was really scary. So going Fractal Insight and then a Blissful Calling is really, really nice. And yeah, just I did really like that card a lot in the list. And speaking of Blissful Callings, you know, it's in here to find the card that you need. Just because there's not like too many animals and beasts that you really want to play in this version of the list, so it helps. This is basically for, we have 2 of the Frenzy, just pretty much for go wide decks. This is just so that you can play out a bear and then just go +1 level cleave or whatever. You know, like we have 2 in here, and then we do have 2 in the side as well, just because it's not good against every deck. 2 Scavenging Raccoon. I would probably actually up this because it would help the animal count for Blissful Calling. And I just found in our games against Terry, like, you need this against a control matchup, otherwise you're just going to lose, especially against water. So I would probably up the count of that. 2 Grey Wolf. You can even take these out for the 2 extra Scavenging Raccoons. You know, that wouldn't really help the Blissful Calling count, but I don't really think this is like that necessary in the deck. We have 4 Ordinary Bears, which is basically just Grey Wolf's better big brother. It is costing 1 more, but the extra health is really nice. It has the same pride, and it gets you that floating memory that is pretty crucial in the deck. So yeah, definitely, like, if you ever have a Grey Wolf and an Ordinary Bear, you're usually like putting this into memory, playing this, and then like banishing this for like leveling up or something like that. You know, like, it's just, Grey Wolf is the 5th and 6th bear of the deck, I guess. Then we have 4 Lynx. I know a lot of people are like undecided on this card. I'm running it because we need more animals in the deck for Blissful Callings and such, and you know, we can hit Pride 4 fairly easily. It does hit a lot of the things that the deck needs, so I don't think it's like a crazy good card, and I definitely think it would be replaced if we get future support or if we get support in the future, but it does what it needs right now, and it's a really good way to, if you have like an Allen out on the board, just play this, get your second beast if you have something else out, and then do like 2 pretty big swings in 1 turn. So I do like that. We have 4 Young Beast Sponsors. Crazy card. You're playing Wind, so you can hopefully abuse this. Just absolutely fantastic. 2 Bedivers. So this is another card that you could increase, decrease, keep the same. I think it's going to be a little bit of player preference, and maybe what like your locals are, or whatever tournament that you're trying to go to. You know, what meta you think that's going to be. Taunt's really strong, and especially when you sideboard in the Resolute stands, you know, you can make this pretty much unkillable, which is really nice. It's just a little, it's a little iffy. The card's still very new, and I can't say that I'm 100% settled on how good I find it, but I will say that most times when it's in my hand, I am choosing to play other cards. And then we have 4 Favorable Winds. The generic floating memory is very handy, and you just need to keep your beasts and animals alive. We have 4 Cry for Help. This is how you get value out of the Tempest Silverbacks that you play early that you can't swing with, and this is also how you just stay alive. Really good card. I had 2 of in at first and quickly changed it to 4 of. We have 3 Anthem of Vitality. Good card. You know, again, like, I kind of like the other options that we have, and it is somewhat easy to play around. So it is a good card, but not really like the best. But it does help that you can grab this off of Allen as well. So we actually have 7, not 4, like I said before. 4 Reclaim, absolutely, like, just amazing card in this deck. You can get back your Green Slimes, Young Beast Sponders, Scavenging Raccoons, all these things that you do want to replay anyways and get that on-enter effect. And we don't have that many generic floating memory targets as well. So yeah, I mean, this is just fantastic. If your opponent does something like a turn 1 Idle Thoughts, if you're just playing Raccoon with the intention to reclaim it once they try to kill it, you're denying them tempo, you're getting rid of a floating memory, you're putting your own floating memory in the graveyard to go for your Silvie level 1. Like, the card is just really, really good in this deck. And the Wind Tricks plus Effigy guy is what made me really focus on Wind Silvie first. I did test some of the other colors, but just couldn't. I'm only running 3 displays? Okay, well, 3 displays. I thought I was running 4. I would probably put a 4th in. This card is absolutely insane. I would probably take out the Tiger spell. What is it called? Anthem of Vitality. I'd probably cut one of those, go to 2, and go to 4 displays. This card is insane in the deck. similar to Reclaim, but you're going to immediately trigger those on-enter effects too. So this is a way for you to actually get rid of your opponent's floating memory on their turn. If you have a Raccoon on board, you can basically just trigger the effect immediately on their turn. You can also do crazy things with Green Slime, Young Beast Spawner, all that kind of stuff, or just keep your Tempest Silverback alive or something, because this card just does so much utility. You're not going to get the class bonus, but it's worth it for sure. We have 2 Innervate Agilities. Really good because you will find yourself with a lot of floating memory in like a longer game. So, you know, using this to recover some health, de-level. If you already have floating memory in the grave, maybe you can go back up to level 2 Silvie and just draw 2. Like, I do really like that concept. And if you're going against an aggro deck, this is either going to help your champion stay alive or your board stay alive. Because most ally heavy decks don't have a lot of True Sight. So, yeah, just a good spell there. Then we have 4 Menagerie Beast Spawners. This is nice because if you see these, you can kind of cheat your attacks a little earlier than you normally could. And with it being floating memory, honestly, like there was a game against Terry where I just played like 1 or 2 of these in a row just to like soak up damage, because I figured he'd want to kill these off so I don't get the level, and then I just used them later for floating memory anyways. So it kind of just read like recover 4 and like give me floating memory, or recover 3 or whatever. We have 4 Green Slimes. I originally built a Silvie green list all around Green Slime and just trying to like hyper combo with this card. It's good. It's not that good though. It's too inconsistent if you do that kind of version, but definitely this is more like just a consistent good green Silvie list. So this does go in here, and you know, you can do some ridiculous things like I did in our game 1. And then we have 4 Tempest Silverback. So you're not going to tackle this for a long time unless you go into something like Alan. But just even putting this out turn 1 and then going into Silvie, making it a 6/6, it's crazy hard to kill that off. And if you do have something like a Cry for Help in your hand, then any ally that they're attacking in, like a Frostborn Paladin or something weird like that, you just cry for help instead of them attacking your champion. They're now going to attack the Silverback, you retaliate back, and you're doing board clear. So, and then it's just that looming threat, and also a beast count for if you have like Alan out and stuff. So, yeah, you pretty much want to start the game with like something like a Tempest Silverback or one of the cheaper beasts and like Young Beast Spawner or something. So we will briefly touch on the side deck, but I will say I think it needs to be refined. We have 2 Blanche, which is more for the Rye matchups. I guess we can go over these one at a time. We have 2 Blanche, which is like more for if you're going to be playing against something that might like board wipe your board by spell damage, like Anger the Skies or something, because if you lose your board in Silvie, you probably lose the game. So I have 2 in here, but I don't know. You might just be able to kill Rye fast enough. I'm not really sure. We honestly didn't test it against Rye too much. We have 2 more Bestial Frenzy in here for the ally heavy matchups. You want to go up to 4 Bestial Frenzies because board wars in those matchups are everything. And then we have 4 Resolute Stands. This is a really great way to just survive against like Onsol decks, just to give you that extra time to like push out. The only thing I don't like about this card is that if you Resolute Stand yourself, then they might just focus your board. So, you know, it's tricky. Silvie is it's honestly kind of a hard archetype to play. And it might just be because it wasn't good in DOA format. So there are not many people that like have a ton of experience and really know the inner workings of Silvie, especially because we got so many new cards and new support for it. So I'm sure that a future build would look vastly different from this, but this is a pretty decent build for early FTC testing, I would say. Again, go check out the Patreon or go check out our YouTube channel for that game 1 if it's up there yet. And really good gameplay there. And we'll have plenty of more gameplay and deck list for you guys before Ascent. So peace out.